Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the daily readings that I'm doing currently. It may change in the future, but right now we are doing, or I am doing, daily readings of a religious type manner. In this case, it's a book called New Morning Mercies, a daily gospel devotional by the author's name, Paul David Tripp. And what I like about it is it just gives me a sense and the ability to stay on track, stay with God, keep up with reading my Bible, which is very important to me. I have committed myself this year to do that, and I guess you could say tricked my brain into believing that if I do this online on my YouTube channel, it's going to help me stay accountable because I don't want to miss out on giving you guys, the listeners, a chance to listen along if you appreciate what you read. And most of the time, I get really wonderful comments in my comment section saying, "Great job, keep it up." There's even some that contribute by adding even more to the conversation, and I love that. It's very powerful. So what we're going to do is just that. We are going to continue. Again, it's January 8th. I hope that you will have a beautiful, blessed day today. I hope that your first 7 days of 2021 are definitely on an uphill and that you're leaving 2020 behind if your 2020 wasn't as good as it can be this year. So let's get going, shall we? January 8th. God calls you to believe and then work with zeal to craft you into a person who really does live by faith. I don't know how much you thought about this, but faith isn't natural for you and me. Doubt is natural. Fear is natural. Living on the basis of your collected experience is natural. Pushing the current catalog of personal what-ifs through your mind before you go to sleep or when you wake up in the morning is natural. Living based on the thinking of your brain and your physical senses is natural. Envying the life of someone else and wondering why it isn't your life is natural. Wishing that you were more sovereign or over people, situations, and locations than you will ever be is natural. Manipulating your way into personal control so you can guarantee that you will get what you think you need is natural. Looking horizontally for the peace that you will only ever find vertically is natural. Anxiously wishing for change is in things that you have no ability to change is natural. Giving way to despondency, discouragement, depression, or despair is natural. Numbing yourself with busyness, material things, media, food, or some other substance is natural. Lowering your standards to deal with your disappointment is natural. But faith simply isn't natural to us. So in grace, God grants us to believe, as Paul says in Ephesians 2:8. Faith really is the gift of God. There is no more counterintuitive function to the average sin-damaged human beings than faith in God. Sure, we'll put our faith in a lot of things, but not in a God we cannot see or hear, who makes promises so grand that seem impossible to keep. God gives us the power to first believe, but he does not stop there. By grace, he works in the situations, locations, relationships of our everyday lives to craft, hammer, bend, and mold us into people who build life based on the radical belief that he really does exist and he really does reward those who seek him. Hebrews 11:6. Next time you face the unexpected, a moment of difficulty you really don't want to go through, remember that such a moment doesn't picture a God who has forgotten you, but one who is near you and doing in you a very good thing. He is rescuing you from thinking that you can live the life you were meant to live while relying on the inadequate resources of your wisdom, experience, righteousness, and strength. And he is transforming you into a person who lives a life shaped by radical, God-centered faith. He is the ultimate craftsman, and we are his clay. He will not take us off his wheel until his fingers have molded us into those who really do believe and do not doubt. For further study and encouragement, Mark 6:30 through 52. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start Mark 6:30 through 52. Let me get right to it, guys. Mark 6:30 through 52. All right. Then the apostles gathered to Jesus and told him all things but what they had done and what they had taught. And he said to them, "Come aside by yourselves to a deserted place and rest a while." For there were many coming and going, and they did not even have time to eat. So they departed to a deserted place in the boat by themselves. But the multitude saw them departing, and many knew him and ran there on foot from all the cities. They arrived before them and came together to him. And Jesus, when he came out, saw a great multitude and was moved with compassion for them, because they were like sheep, not having a shepherd. So he began to teach them many things. When the day was now far spent, his disciples came to him and said, "This is a deserted place, and already the owner is late. Send them away that they may go into the surrounding country and villages and buy themselves bread, for they have nothing to eat." But he answered and said to them, "You give them something to eat." And they said to him, "Shall we go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give them something to eat?" But he said to them, "How many loaves do you have? Go and see." And when they found out that, they said, 5 and 2 fish. Then he commanded them to make them all sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in ranks, in hundreds and in 50s. And when he had taken the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to the heavens, blessed, and broke the loaves, and gave them to his disciples to set before them. And the 2 fish he divided among them all. So they all ate and were filled. And they had took up 12 baskets full of fragments and of the fish. Now those who had eaten the loaves were about 5,000 men. Immediately he made his disciples go into the boat and go before him to the other side, to Bethsaida, while he sent the multitude away. And when he had sent them away, he departed to the mountain to pray. Now when evening came, the boat was in the middle of the sea, and he was alone on the land. Then he saw them straining and roaring, for the wind was against them. Now about the 4th watch of the night he came to them, walked on the sea, and would have passed by them. And when they saw him walking on the sea, they supposed it was a ghost, and cried out, for they all saw him and were troubled. But immediately they took with them and said to them, "Be of good cheer, it is I, do not be afraid." Then he went up into the boat to them and saw the wind cease, and they were greatly amazed in themselves beyond measure, and marveled, for they had not understood about the loaves, because their heart was hardened. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in today's reading. If you did all the way through, thank you very much for that. My quick comment on this is powerful. Faith is something that we all have to have, or we go crazy. I know that in today's world, without getting political, we are going through a very, very tough time in our country. Regardless of faith, regardless of sides, regardless of what you believe in, regardless of what you don't believe in, we are still going through a lot. And I don't want to take the word faith lightly there. I have faith that God's going to push me through my emotions, my depressions, my anxiety with what's going on in the world. It doesn't affect me directly, but it affects me emotionally, because I feel for everyone who is going through this, whichever side they're on. It's a tough scenario. If anyone's reading this or listening to this years later, it's the month of 6, 2021. So you want to know what's crazy about this world at that time period? Look it up. We're living in a unique time. Let me get back to the idea of what I was saying before I got all sidetracked. Faith is important to have, and that's what this message to me is about faith. Simply first, believing in God if you don't see Him or touch Him, or those are the two big ones. I still have faith that God is with me 110% of the time, without a doubt, without even questioning it. And it took me well into my late 20s to know that, to believe it, and to be humbled by that. Secondly, have faith that the people back in the day, when you are hungry and you're desperate and you want to be fed and you only have little, that God is working on making their lives better by multiplying their food, multiplying their drink, and that's a wonderful thing. And then lastly, the idea that the people on the boat saw a ghost-like figure walk on the sea towards the boat. Having faith that God is telling us all, have faith, it is I. No need to worry, no need to be afraid. It is I who is walking up to you. So having faith that whatever you're going through, God will push you through. So that's my commentary on what I read today. And so I will end this by saying, listen, if you're not of God, if you don't believe in a God, if you don't even believe in what type of God I have, that's okay. I'm here to love on you regardless of your faith, regardless of your religion, regardless of your non-religion, regardless of your sin. I'm here to not judge. I'm here to simply love the person because I've been instructed to love you. It's important to me, and I hope that even if you are not a religious person, that you still have a good heart and that you can outwardly love people, and that you strive to try to live better and be better in that sense. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. If you liked what you've heard today and you want to continue hearing more, please consider hitting the subscribe button, and please consider hitting the notification bell. All of that helps the YouTube algorithm get me to be a better person myself, so that way I can reach more of you guys and enjoy the journey with you. I'm excited, and I want to be able to do that with you guys. If it isn't your cup of tea, but you know somebody else who it is, have them listen and see if they will subscribe and hit the notification bell and even like my videos. So I hope that you guys are hear my sincerity in this, and I want you guys to know that I love each and every single one of you. It's easy when you love God, because God instructs me to love you all. I hope that you have a beautiful day today, and that you can reach out to somebody and give them a big hug and prayer. Love you guys. Bye now.